recording. So on last video we have covered the route guards, then active routes. We have accessed the data and the router palms, query palms, and property binding router links. Also, we saw lazy modules and paginations and the communication between components and all. Here we're going to see touch some advanced concept like content projection. So what is content projection? Content projection is projecting some elements inside other component dynamically. So if you go to the source code, let's go for the content projection folder. So here we are, as you see, we have different components called checkbox. Let us close all these so that we can free our coding window. So if you see here, we have checkbox component which only have a checkbox which is emitting a event called change. When we click the checkbox, it will emit an event change, that it will check a boolean. Then in content projection we have the parent component. So this is the parent component inside from which we're gonna project the components. So think in this way that we have same form. For example, here there is a form you see, and we are using the same form for login and for also sign up. So we don't have to do that with two different forms, but we can do it with a single form. So because here we have a S3 which is a form title which will decide this heading. You are not seeing it because we have edited the code for more and more advanced options, but I can explain what will happen when we did that actually. So this is the single form which is called new form component, which has a dynamic property title and also button name. So inside the content projection, if you see content projection stuff, we have a content projection child, which is different, but what I want to show you is, if you see why I'm using new form here, let's see. Okay, this is the stuff, this is the form, that's fine. Okay, we are not using the new form, we are using this form name title. So now what we're doing is, previously the form is like that. Okay, this is the initial form, we have title and name, and we used to pass the name to using. So now you are using the same form for two different components, so we have to do it like that. We are replacing the title with the ng content. We give a tag at s3, and the same we did with the button, and we created content for button, and from the parent component we are passing it inside where we are added that child component. In between that we just have to mention s3 is login, and for the button class we have to do this like that, and it will replace the form. If you add that two times, and whatever the data we gave inside, it will go and project it inside the ng content projection, and this way we get two forms with different names and different buttons. For login and for sign up. So that is the fundamental of content projection. Now we get two forms. And we also passing the button and everything to it, even the events depending upon the buttons. But let us if we are now projecting a different component as well. If you see here, for example, first example, we only reuse that form, we only change the properties login and the button property, so that we will recreate if you see here, two forms with one is sign a login here and one sign up here, and I commented it. But now if you think of this checkbox, it is a component itself, and we are projecting that to the form. Let's go to child. If you see the projected messages, not messages here, select ng button, we will be logged in for 30 days. Okay, this is a message tab, that is another message. But if you see ng contact, select app checkbox, and here we are projecting that component itself inside another component. So the point is, basically we're going to create every small component like checkbox, input element, and we can rebuild a complete form based on that. So now, because this checkbox is emitting an event, how we gonna access that inside this form? Now to do that, because the form is projected to content child component, we have to go here in the TS file, and we will see that here we are using something called our content child after content init. So differently here, if you see our checkbox that we are projecting content event called checkbox event. So inside project child TS, we will be catching that event. On checkbox clicked. So let us go here inside the TS file. To do it, we're gonna let me check what we are doing here. Content projection child emit. That's fine. On checkbox, we didn't did anything here. Anyway, so what we did here is we put a element reference because those stubs are projected. View child, let's go to here. If you see, to access, this is nothing to content projection, and here we're seeing that how we can access an element without form element. So we gave a reference to this form element and in view child, which element reference, and we are accessing to that. Then we have change detector reference, and a renderer. I will say we don't need renderer first, we apply renderer later. First we did it without renderer. Only by this that element placeholder that replacing the code with render. This is the email reference native element set to placeholder. We can access that element and can do those stuffs. But we later replaced it with a renderer. So that is one how to access the element inside your child component. Now this is the project message component that we projected inside the view child. So we have created this variable for project message component, and we're going to access view child data. It will show us the data, means we directly can change some data dynamically, which is, for example, if you go to child component, it was 30, but we changed it to 250 dynamically, and it is 250 here. Anyway, then we can go ahead on the click of the checkbox. We are subscribing the remember checkbox component. From checkbox component we are this dot remember the checkbox event. We are accessing the event and subscribing to that event and setting a flag, because this checkbox event, if you see here, it's emitting this one. So you are accessing through view child and getting the data from it. And everything logic, you are putting it ng after view init, ng after content image. This is only for set, but if you want to change some data, it is better we have to do it ng on view init, content init. If not, we have to put that detection change. Here the CD we have change detection reference, and we can do this, the change detection, detect changes. It will reflect the change, but it will run the change detection for us. If not, it's better to do the stuffs inside init content after ng after content init. This is all for the content projection.